Yay. Nabeel, my man.
Yo, 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 my brother.
This is long overdue, I think. At one
I
point, we were
mean, it's
supposed to
so,
do this together, right?
mm, mm, I'm so happy
We can
we
still
just
do
started.
something.
Yeah.
I just started, yeah. I mean, try and, do stuff that's within your control. But yeah, man, like I know you as a financial coach, financial advisor, and now fitness influencer, I think to some degree. But how do you see yourself? What do you do? What's your game?
My game.
Yeah.
I now see myself as a skydiver.
Oh yeah, you
Uh,
started that as
uh,
well.
what is the game at play? I enjoy a lot of games. We opened a coffee shop recently, the Coffee Club at the Randburg Football Club. A lot of
Okay.
clubs in that statement. Um, no, nothing about coffee, but completely profitable in the last 2 months so far. Um,
Wow.
Coffee is a good investment. Uh,
Mm.
but a lot of fucking hard work, bro. Like proper hard work.
Yeah.
Like it's been a while since doing the whole retirement thing for the last 4 years. But
Okay.
I'm happy to know that the brain still works.
Yeah. You
It
you
still
had to
kicks
crunch some
ass.
numbers probably, right?
No, I
For
have
the
to do
first
everything.
time in a while. Mm.
Everything, bro. I
Yeah.
mean, it's it's one of those where I'm starting to question what the hell is rewarding? Like, cool,
Mm.
make some money. And the answer to that, as I've always known in different forms, and I think the world teaches us to, or will give us the lesson, whether we learn it or not, is um, peace. Peace of
Mm.
mind, bro. That's really what it's about, man. Doesn't matter what game. So I'm just
Yeah.
playing whatever games are cool to play, bro.
Cool. So tell me a little bit more about, you said retirement. So was this from being a sort of a full-on financial advisor at some point, or tell us a bit about that, or your retirement sort of decision, or what
Well,
that actually
as
means.
a financial advisor, financial planner, financial whatever, when somebody asks about retirement, the whole bloody industry is stuck in the idea of take an RA, right? Your
Mm.
consumer also believes a lot about a lot. But I mean, we've dealt with all of these beliefs and understandings about money on many YouTube channels. Um,
Yeah.
the truth is, it's a point in life where you get to choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and retirement's a word that can mean so much for so many people. And for most people, they have no clue or haven't even considered what that could mean.
For
It's
them.
just an idea
Yeah. Yeah.
until it's not an idea and you're actually in it. And then, like everything else, you got to figure it out, bro. You know?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I definitely believe that retirement is freedom of choice in some respects, and I think there's a whole different view. I mean, we could probably talk hours about this, but I think the traditional idea is that you work till anywhere between 55 and 65. You mentioned an RA, the retirement age of a retirement annuity product. I think is the earliest is 55, and then you sort of like old and you can't skydive anymore, right? Because it's going to maybe take a toll on your body more than what you would, so, or whatever it is. I'm you might be very healthy at 55, 60. I mean, hopefully, but I'm just saying you kind of
I'll tell
you
you a
kind
fun
of
fact. You
delaying
know,
you're delaying
uh,
doing things that you want to do because you're working, because that's the retirement age. So I've always been, I started writing a little paper about it at some point. It was actually for a job at one of the big insurers where we were also trying to maybe redefine retirement a little bit. And I read about this concept called sort of what they called mini retirements, which means like, and I think maybe that's kind of what you were doing. It's a retirement where you got to a place where you had the freedom of choice. For now, you made a choice not to work yourself to death and do certain things that you want to do. That doesn't mean you're not in another 2 or 3 years going to take up a venture like you have now, which is a little bit more work again. So that was my theory. Like, you kind of got to think about it in a different way. And it doesn't mean that's the right answer or the wrong answer. It's just what works for you. But people don't think
Yeah,
of
you
it
know,
like
I
that. And also,
100%. And
yeah,
I'd love to see that paper that you wrote. Bro. It would be nice. Nice to read the stuff that my bro has written, you know. Um, it is kind of like that, you know, the overarching arc of the thought is there's life, and making money is just a part of your life. So
mm,
whether you need a full break from working or not is then, to me, in my opinion, becomes relative, not necessarily irrelevant, relative, right? We're just not brought up to, like you said, um, see it that way. We conditioned to think, act, and fucking how ridiculous is it? Conditioned to live a certain way. Nobody said, besides the history of whoever did say. And like everything, there's an agenda. Go to school, learn some shit, go be an employee, and welcome to the rest of your life. And you know, take one of the
yeah, pay
most
taxes.
important, yeah, pay taxes, do whatever, just basically live in this world created and defined by, again, ideas.
No, definitely. But
And
in
at what
terms of
point does
your,
anyone take the thought to stop and think, what the hell do I want? You know,
yeah,
what makes me happy? At what point did we ever have a subject that says, as a human being, consider your neighbor, think about people, help other
mm,
people, live as a community? As a
mm,
subject, how incredible could that have been? We have subjects of how to grow crops, right? We have subjects on how to sell crops. We have subjects on how
mm,
to make profit from crops. And we play games growing up Monopoly, you know.
mm,
This is my cards. And if you give me all of yours, you know, I'll give you the one thing that you need. It's all leverage, bro. How does that benefit anyone?
mm,
We're not taught to be human, actually. We're just taught to do shit. And you got to figure
mm.
out that other part. Yeah.
Isn't that where some people would say that, like, spirituality, religion, your kind of maybe plays a part,
You
or
know,
not?
I would have agreed wholeheartedly and leaned into that. And to a large extent, you know, I can, because everything again is relative. Um, and I said I could have. But since the last 2 weeks, bro, I mean, the only thing that's been on my mind is, you know it, bro, fucking genocide happening in the world. And all I'm
Mm,
noticing is my friends, right? Some of them are actually taking the side of genocide religiously. Almost like, and I'm sitting here thinking, again, to what we said, what are we raised to believe? Who are we? What are we? Um, all of this coming to question, and a large majority, I'll just give you the summary of people just choose to remain quiet and continue to post random shit, right? Including spirituality quotes and stoic quotes. And yet, in the face of an actual thing, like the last time this shit happened was fucking Hitler, bro. You know,
mm,
to now it's happening in our world, in our generation. And yes, I am so flippin' overwhelmed being a pro-Palestinian supporter and anti-apartheid. So, I mean, you can relate, right? All this shit happening.
mm,
For the first time, a large amount of the world is waking up. And right clearly, right in front of all of our eyes, is the fact that being woke, if that is another new definition upon what being woke should be, actually gives us no particular power besides our voices. And even that is being censored and threatened. And institutions are going, no, no, the policy is we stand apolitical. What? And these are people we look up to. We go sit at stages and talk about, you know, people are paid money to come and speak motivationally, again, using spirituality, using ideas and inspirational concepts through stories, human stories, which are fantastic, bro. I used to love those things. Um, only to see those very people. Remember, we all human, bro. We all human. So
mm.
another person's inspirational story on stage should never take away from the fact that everybody has a story that can change your life, right? Um,
Yeah.
but what are we conditioned to believe that person is someone to look up to? And yes, take what you can to look up to, but why? And that
Mm,
why is what's proving itself today in the silence of people, in the people that are posting one thing and ignoring a complete other thing. Like, where is the priorities as humans
Mm.
when it comes to how we live? So the concept of spirituality of course, we can agree with. How it's being played out or understood, though, and its divisions in that, I imagine, is one of the bigger problems. That how do you address it, bro? I don't know, bro. How
Mm.
does one address it?
Mm. Yeah, no, it's a difficult one. But I think on the flip side of that is, as you said, another way to do it is in, just basically teach more things to people around basic humanity, around just, as you said, like, in business as well. I don't, there's a lot of principles that you could apply in business, which is, human, much more human than the money side, because I think that's where things go wrong. Um, I think, I don't know. I mean, do you feel that you do you feel that you built up when you built up a
I
business
missed the question
that you
there.
could um what I was saying is that I think do you feel
Okay, I
that
got you
when
back.
you've
Yeah,
yeah, it might be tripping a little
yeah,
bit, but hopefully it gets sorted in the end.
yeah. No stress.
Um
Do I feel?
do you feel that when you've built a business you have considered a lot of human elements, or do you think at some point you were more ruthless from a business perspective, meaning um,
Yeah. Look,
you didn't
what is a
consider
human
human
element, right?
factors?
You know, I'll tell you from my opinion, and well, my perspective, right?
Mm,
We started this business with a reason, right? We started the coffee shop. It's quite a, I mean, 2 months. You'll get all the data
yeah.
in 5 minutes. Yeah, you know, 2 months, all assets are paid for already, which means we are now in the green. Now, use
Wow.
that as a baseline. Go, how did you build that business in 2 months? Fuck, I don't know if it fails or whatever it goes, but what I can tell you is the people, they are happy, right? To your question, we started it because there's a need. Us as parents at the soccer club looked at it and said, okay, why can't we get lekker food, decent coffee? Simple question, right? And we go, okay,
Mm,
how about we, raise the level of this community? Because all the conversations around us were, this place used to be great, now it's cuck. Like,
all right.
okay, that's nice, but why do we want to hear that, right? And why can't we do something about it? We are parents of the youngest age group. We see ourselves here for a very long time. We like coffee. We like community. I could run a business with you. Yeah, I could run a business with you, bro. This is community, right? This is already human. We didn't plan it and go, okay, how are we going to be human? Like most people, how do most people start businesses?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a gap in the market. We can make some money. Those people are the people that will buy from us. How do we convince the other people to buy from us? Blah, 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 blah. Bro, the maths was quite simple. Google coffee, look at prices, relate to the amount of coffee that you drink around you. Hell, we even do financial videos. 1 cup of coffee a day. If you save that shit, you'll retire at
Yeah.
75. No one cares. It's just an idea. Someone can
Yeah.
relate to it, maybe, and maybe they apply it. But just like diets or anything, it's each to their own, apparently, when it comes to money, including themselves in the mirror, which is the biggest person they need to overcome. Come
Mm.
back to it. We started operating this place, um, hands on deck. I mean, you got a coffee machine, great. You spend 100,000 rand, awesome. Now make the coffee. Now, what did I do as a human, as a Nabeel? I just get obsessed with it, right? This is like what I did with anything. Get obsessed with it.
Mm.
I'll tell you, I make a better coffee now. I went to Sun City the other week, walked into Vida that they have over there. I told the guys, listen, I want 2 cappuccinos. Let me make one. You make the other one. Let's see. Maybe I can learn, right? So for me,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
already human. I get to speak to the person. Mug and Bean let me through. Spur with the Lavazza machine let me through. I'm interested in gadgets. Like, oh, this coffee machine works like this. I'm so far down the YouTube rabbit hole. I'm pouring the best latte art and pulling the perfect espresso shot. But I can tell you, 2 months later, um, you know, I'll make a better coffee than most baristas out there. I'll pull a better espresso shot than most people in this country. And I'm confidently saying that happily be willing to be proven wrong, because that means I can learn something else. Same with
Mm.
financial services. I, at some point, I'm bored, bro. I'm like, okay, it's
Mm.
easy to help someone with finances, but again, when it comes to advice, advice is only as good as it's used. So it's not like I'm going to
Yeah.
speak and everyone's lives is going to change. Everyone's going to change their own life. But from a professional perspective, right? I dig the people, so on and so forth, etc. Right? I always have a good time
Mm.
with whoever, traveling the world and so on. The trips, incentives, etc. were great, right? The humans made the difference. The people that allowed me the opportunities made the difference. I built a business as a stuntman in financial services, where I started off picking up the phone and phoning people, and they were telling me, "Aren't you the guy that jumps off buildings?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, I love your posts and stuff like that. It's great to hear. But money maybe not be your thing." That's where I started. My
Yeah.
biggest referral, getting names on a list, which is the lifeblood of a sales business, was 75
Mm.
names from one person. I built that thing on people recommending other people to me. Notice people, right? The only
Mm.
thing I could then control was, what can I learn every day? And what's the other one that came to mind now? Is how can I apply what I would do for myself for others? That was how I gave advice. Still today is how I gave advice. I'm not going to tell you something I ain't going to do for myself.
Yeah, you're not
And
gonna
that's
do.
all I
Yeah.
can control, right? And
Mm.
and the reason I left that industry again is, how much more can you learn? Again, happy to learn. But it became
Mm.
repetitive. It became monotonous. I'd be sitting in a room with all our people, and I love them as human beings, right? But the realization kept dawning on me each time, is like, am I just doing the same thing? Am I going to do this when I'm 70, 80 years old? Is this what it is? Financial
Mm.
services isn't that complicated. And
Mm.
when I say, is this what it is? It's like, okay, long term, medium term, short term, put some money in there. Really, your game then becomes not necessarily about the art of financial planning, newer solutions, innovative methods, means, which I do absolutely believe can be furthered as a profession,
Mm.
just not as it is now, because it's a closed loop. It's just sales. If you gave me
Yeah.
the room to sit in I don't know, man, the FSCA or whatever, and have a voice to be able to, now notice we talk about politics, which then already
Mm.
initially takes away the art of being a financial planner. But if you gave me that license, that door, that conversation, with open minds, we
Mm.
could change the whole industry. You, not just me. I mean, I'm just saying, like-minded
Yeah.
ideas,
Yeah.
thoughts, and progress the industry. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's the
So
concept
so
of
so
including people.
yeah, it is interesting because I think I looked at it from a perspective of how could I make it a little bit different? And I spent so much time trying to figure out how to do financial advice and planning differently that I've totally forgot to make a living from it for myself. You kind of went, okay, I'm going to delve into this. I'm going to make some money. Um, I'm going to treat it as a business. I'm going to treat it as a learning opportunity. And then, from what you're saying, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you got to a place where you were not excited about it anymore, and realized that you're not going to take on changing the whole thing because you need some kind of go ahead by a regulator, like you said, or
Yeah,
someone
well,
that's got
well,
the
I'd
power.
frame it a bit differently, right? I went in
Okay.
as a stuntman. Um,
Mm.
I even put a note to say I'll quit after 3 months if I'm not enjoying this, but I'll definitely at the same time take away as much as I can to learn how to manage my own finances. I was having so much
Right.
fun meeting people, understanding, learning, that 3 month deadline didn't even occur to me. It,
Mm.
I'm very terrible at
Yeah.
administrative shit, so it's not like I put it in. I have become better. Some cool practices, processes that keep me focused, high performing whenever I need to be. But I'm just a normal flipping guy that forgets shit if I don't write it down, right? Anyway,
Mm.
um, in having fun, learning, etc., trying my best to achieve the objective of what financial advice should be, yeah, I made a lot of money, bro.
Mm.
Funny enough, I've spent a lot of money as well. And I had to, again,
Yeah.
as I was learning, I had to also apply into my own life. I didn't open up my RA the day I started as a financial advisor. Hell, I didn't have money. you
Mm.
know, I
Yeah,
opened
yeah.
up my RA when I only had money. And then you process it. If I'm going to give this advice for someone to process an RA, why should I give it? Which is where the idea, and I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure nobody ever did it this way until I started doing it and teaching other people how to do it. And yes, that's a nice little selfish thought of mine. I'm sure many people have thought about it. But the concept of teaching somebody young starting to work that couldn't give a shit about retirement, that don't do it because of retirement. It's impossible for you to consider. Do it because
Mm.
the tax rebate is going to give you a holiday every year. And that's how you put in proper numbers into your RA. Now, break that down, analyze it. It's a great sales technique. If you put me in a sales training forum, it's actually just the fucking truth. Why should that kid give a shit about their retirement? No, because it's important. How should they? It's impossible. No youngster gives a shit. We cannot think that far ahead, nor can we feel. And we know that our decisions are
Mm.
based on how we feel. As human beings, how we feel is not necessarily right, which is why everyone fucks it up. Sorry if I'm not allowed to swear, but
Yeah, no, no, for sure.
humans are quite simple. We are very basic. We do some weird shit. So you kind of have to put an idea and have somebody accept the idea. And if they do, and it's logical enough, and they're capable of receiving it at the time, they'll do whatever. I don't think
Mm.
I even care about my RA. I don't think I've thought about it the last 2 months, besides it's objective. And it's just a tool,
Yeah,
right? The day
yeah,
that it pays me back is a day where I go, whoa, I'm happy I did this shit, like, whoa.
yeah.
And that
Very
crazy fuck
intangible,
who
right?
told me to do it, right? Yeah, thank you to him. That's when the advisor maybe becomes a hero, but again, who's counting?
Yeah, yeah. It was very, I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, just for interest sake, from a sales perspective now as well. Because ultimately financial advice is a lot of sales because advisors make their money from the product, so they have to sell the product. In
Mm,
that, depending on the person that you're dealing with, you and how much knowledge they have, they will obviously impart some of that knowledge to you, basic financial literacy,
mm,
talking about budgeting, how to manage your money just generally, and then get yourself an RA, some life insurance and whatever. But it's a very intangible thing that you're selling.
mm.
And like you said, you
Well,
almost got to
okay,
sell this.
I'll give it to you this way. If you think about
Mm,
life as sales, then you're starting off with the right idea, right?
mm,
Because I sold something. Or let's say Raisa bought something with regards to the shit,
mm,
right? Had she
mm.
known it was this today, back then, maybe the answer would look easier. She had no clue. I was a stuntman out of a job, telling her, I'm not going to travel around and try really lean into freelance and be away from home. I was the guy telling her, I want to marry you and I want to give this a fair, valuable shot, um, because I think that's fair to exchange the value that you're adding into my life. And so I'm going to look for a new job. That's risky shit, bro. Fun story. She told me that her mother, my mother-in-law, actually sat her down and said, Nabeel's a great guy, like amazing. I'm going to fill in some details over here about passion and all of these things. But she goes, you got to
Yeah,
think about it in a long-term viewpoint, right? Like stunts and I forget the particular details, but you get the idea of what she was saying, right?
yeah,
And I love my mother-in-law; she's awesome. Um, Valid point from a parent to a child, like this guy does some crazy shit, and from that point of understanding, I get it. Empathy, right?
mm,
But that's not the point. The point is the risk she took, and so on and so forth, has paid off in a certain way, right? What is the point? Sales, right? The point of sales, if you look at it then in life, is we selling for everything, right? I bought this
mm,
T-shirt because I like camouflage. It was sold to me by an idea that's built up, stunts, a lot of military experience and training. The idea, Call of Duty, it's part of my identity. I can think about it and
mm,
deduce, but I bought this thing. Well sold, Nike, well presented. Um, we sell for our job, we sell for everything. And if you understand it as sales, then
mm.
you're starting off with the right idea. I had a bigger point,
Yeah,
but I'm sure I'll get to it, and there's a reason I forgot it.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, I just always sort of, as I said, I looked at this because I mean, I did financial advice or sold insurance and investments for
Mm,
quite a while, then tried to change it into something a little bit more like holistic because I didn't feel that it was being done in the right way. But, and then obviously read a lot on sales, but you know, you are kind of trying, and as you said, in life you are selling ideas as well, generally, um, and but it's a little bit different to selling a vacuum cleaner where you know the product's in front of you, you know what it does, and once you've sold it, you don't really even need to worry about going back to the client necessarily again because the thing's been sold. With financial
mm,
advice or products, it's a long-term relationship that has to be maintained as well, and the benefit of what you've just sold them, you know, in life
mm-hmm.
insurance might never come to fruition because hopefully they don't have to use the life insurance or disability insurance or disease insurance. And then with investments, it's also a long-term game, you know, where eventually they'll be like, oh, wow, if I hadn't have done this, you know, 20 years ago, I wouldn't be where I am now. So yeah, it's a long game and it's a little bit different, you know, it's a little bit of a different game. So I saw it as that, where if you're selling something very tangible and right there,
Mm.
sometimes it's a little bit easier short term. But I feel that financial advice and financial planning long term can also be beneficial from the benefit to clients, you know. But you
Yeah.
decided because it wasn't really working for you anymore, you weren't interested anymore, you probably wouldn't be able to offer a good service because you're kind of bored. Um,
Yeah, well,
but did you
think
ever
about it
think
this
of,
way, right? As it
mm,
stands today, right? I coach people with money. Now, what's the
right?
difference between advice and coaching? Now, I mean, I'd like to believe the definition is quite simple and it's legislative. So, if you're talking about a financial product, it's now considered
Mm,
advice. If you giving advice, it's not considered advice. You get like it's completely weird. The sales industry has took term the word
yeah,
advice and put the word advice, which is a language thing, and we can talk about the power of language. And let me just say it: every movie everybody's watched, you see a guy with a turban, and you think terrorist. That's been taught for you to think. You don't see an occupation and apartheid in being done to Palestine, people stealing land, and then you have been conditioned to think the resistance is terrorist. Have to say that because if I don't absolutely say it, it gets lost. My point, advice being a language thing. So as it stands today,
mm,
coming back to what we were talking about, is people would pay, they still do today, a handful of people that get it, that appreciate me as a human being, that know that I speak openly with every client today, and I still have clients, right? And I say, listen,
yeah,
your life, your problem. I'm one person dealing with many things and my own life. I train, I post on Instagram, I do all of these things. Happy to continue to give you advice to in your thoughts, in your decisions. I'm a part of your thought process because I know some shit, right? The exchange
yeah,
is they pay me a retainer for coaching, right? I don't have to deal with products. So now
yeah,
I'm earning money for advice, right? If they choose to. I also then, from a people perspective, understand people don't talk about money, they forget shit, they do all this. So my retainer is actually not a year, it's 6 months. So if
mm,
you want a retainer, we can deal with shit, take a couple of weeks and stuff, and work on
mm,
it, whether it's business, life,
yeah,
personal, product, blah, 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 blah. And great, you paid for the service. You're welcome to not call me the rest of the year and you don't pay for it. So what's fair, right? That's been working out. And that number,
yeah,
think about it, sales, right? We're talking about sales. I thumbsuck that number because the truth is I am actually passionate about giving advice and being a financial advisor by its true definition, not by an industry
yes.
definition or
Giving
certain
advice,
rule.
giving guidance,
I dig
being
it,
a
bro. I
sounding
flip
board for
and love
someone.
it, bro.
Yeah,
Just listening, solving a problem, breaking it down,
yeah,
taking out the
yeah,
misunderstanding on it's just great. It's great. It helps people. It actually does. So I've never lost that
yes.
passion. I
That's
just got
rewarding,
bored
right?
with being in the industry. So the people that
Yeah,
still
because
are
because
there
because
are
what you
happy
had
to
is, I
pay.
mean, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I got bored and frustrated with the fact that my sales manager, or whatever you want, a branch manager, is telling me like, how many life insurance policies have you sold this month?
Yeah, that's part of the
And
course,
I'm
bro.
like, well, that's
You
not
know,
what I'm in this for.
good people that have to do their job, and you can hear it in the voice.
No, for sure.
You can see it everywhere, right? Corporate structures are there to run big companies. There's a lot of mismanagement,
Mm.
misunderstandings, misappropriation, and misagendas, right? The whole purpose of a large group, which is a listed company, is to raise the share price. It's not about caring so much so about the nuances. That's the salespeople's jobs to deal with the people. Oh, the legislation has changed. Yeah, put it on the salespeople. You know, one of the biggest
Yeah.
solutions that I had for, let's say, our industry, right? Without pointing fingers at companies, was if you've got all this money, why don't you use technology properly, get in a data sheet that the salesperson can fill it in, and have a whole department to do the perfect financial needs analysis, and just have the salesperson receive the pack and then go close the deal. No, it's
Mm.
too expensive. What is too expensive? Do you really give a shit? No, we only care about the sales and the model, just like, let's say, Vitality. And I mean, let's say this is my opinion, no particular facts.
Mm.
Let's say a rewards program is designed by a bunch of clever ass actuaries who studied to work out numbers and build models, right, on the probability of premiums in what a large amount of target market is going to pay in, right, as a business for profit. Let's give them back benefits. So just like any gym models, rewards program models, like 2% of people actually benefit. And even then, the model is designed to fuck you at some point in the end.
Right.
But again, each to
Yeah.
their own. As a
And make them
consumer,
profit.
if you are, no, of course, isn't that the point, right? What's done with that profit? I'll tell you, it ain't feeding people. It ain't supporting civilians in a genocide. It's not doing anything for the world besides lining pockets. And again, putting it all there. I'm sure many other things, because now it comes to charity or however corporations are doing it. What? For the media attention, to continue to build a brand. You know, I'm not sure how I'm going to teach this, but I would love for my children to look at and understand and be able to think critically, which is a skill many people don't have, and it's not an age-driven skill. Old people still don't know how to fucking do it. Is if you look at the world, what we believe is the world is really only a small proportion of the world, that people that have access to internet and part of capitalism in general. Uh, the rest of the world, which is still part of this planet, that doesn't have access to internet, that doesn't have access to like real things,
Mm.
things to survive, aren't considered part of the world. And it's nicely and conveniently hidden. And it's not anyone's job to care. Remember what we said in the beginning? We grew
Mm.
up taught to think. It's up to us to figure it out. It's up to us to listen. And in between, anyone, when it comes to, I have an opinion, I am myself, I need to love myself spiritually, blah, 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 you've got this middle area, large middle area, where everyone just fights with each other. Everyone has something to say about everyone else. It's just
Yeah.
look at the comment section on anything, and it's the most fucking entertaining thing. And again, what are we teaching? We're teaching people to not critically think. We're teaching them, we've
Yeah.
already lost the ability to read longer than 2 minutes. If any, it's like 2 minutes is a
Mm.
stretch. Leave a 13-minute read or a
Stretch. Yeah.
20-minute read, especially on something that's not exciting. Um, and my word, bro, it's just, I don't know, bro.
No, for sure. It is a concerning thing in the world, you know.
Yeah, it's a concerning thing, bro. It's fucking
It's a
concerning.
concerning thing. I don't know the answer, man.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm
who
also
knows the
battling
answer? We can
with
all just try, right? And we can try
yeah,
on one idea,
yeah.
two ideas, and there's always comparisons, there's always mismatches, and there always is. But again, I suppose we can just start with whatever opportunity we can get, right? To help, to help.
Just present it
Man,
to us, yeah.
I mean, I can ask you, how do I help this podcast? Let me share it. Fuck it, bro, I'll share it. Anything else you need for now. and you may change your opinion next year. That's okay. Just I'll
Yeah.
accept whatever it is my friend is asking, and I'll try my best to fucking
Yeah.
help. There's a solution. No judgments. And if you happen
No,
to
that
have a
is.
difference in opinion, fuck it. I'll listen. I'll burn inside. And you know what? I'll voice it back to you. It doesn't mean I hate you, bro. It
Mm.
doesn't mean that. And that's, I think, what it is to be human. To actually consider,
Yeah.
you know, consider what is the agenda. We all have an agenda, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think about it this way. My friend Elmo asked me to be on a podcast. Fucking let's go, bro. Let's talk about all sorts of things. Maybe it helps someone, right? There's the agenda for the
Maybe.
podcast. You have an agenda. I'll be honest with you, I had no particular agenda because I'm just kind of doing whatever I want to do these days. And I said yes to my brother. And clearly, right here on the screen, I'm not unaware of it. My agenda has come out to just shout for Palestine. I have an agenda here, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It developed though, right? It developed.
Well, I had it in my head from the beginning. I just didn't know
Okay.
how it would develop.
Yeah. 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 It's a difficult topic, it's a very difficult one.
It's not difficult. It's just difficult based on everything we just said over the last 5 minutes, right? People are confused.
Yeah.
People are unaware. I
People are
mean, think
confused.
about it
They
this
don't
way.
understand it.
Right
They
here,
haven't taken the time to understand it
I'm
either.
gonna blow your mind, bro.
Um,
These encyclopedias, right? I bought them one day when it was just there. They were like 10 Rand for a whole set. And I was like, I grew up reading encyclopedias, right? And dinosaurs and the usual things. And quite frankly, I love how these books look. Right? I'm like, 10 Rand, just give me the fucking book.
yeah.
Through all of these last 2
They
weeks, I
look
went
great.
and opened up, I searched, obviously, Palestine. Right? Palestine's in the encyclopedia. This edition is 1948, 1947, 48 published, right? Let's call it these encyclopedias Western world publications of knowledge,
Mm.
right? Did you know under the section R the word racist doesn't exist? 1948, bro. It's not there.
Jeez.
There is a section called
Okay.
Races of Men, which describes 16
Okay.
versions of different types of black people and just white people. Now, there's some deep shit in here. There's some shit that I can't actually say relating to the K word, but it was more like if you read the definition of the K word, it is described as the African version of a Negro in the States, which has,
Okay.
it's ridiculous. My point that I'm making, Elmo, is we're speaking about how complicated this is or how hard it is. The truth is, if we base all human understanding and knowledge is accumulation on each other, and we learn from our parents, we learn stuff, and we have to unlearn the bad things or put in an effort to, right? Similar to financial services, we have to, the customer has to really want financial freedom. That would be the single biggest difference that will get them there, right? It ain't going to be
Yeah.
a financial advisor. It ain't going to be anyone. You can take the horse to water. You can't force it to drink, right? In
To drink. Yeah.
1948, we've got knowledge, what people would consider knowledge, the equivalent of the internet. Back then, it didn't exist. I would read and I would learn. I would have something to think about, formed by thoughts, right? Where racist was not even considered. That's one generation ago, right? 1948, right? My dad was born in 42. So I am the next generation. Perhaps I was born a bit
Yeah.
late, so maybe 2 generations ago. Coming to it, what does it mean to empathize? Today, we've got financial, not 2023, financial coaching is a thing over the last couple of years. Think about being human, think about empathy, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Apparently, that's a buzzword these days in corporate cultures, in our enterprises that go, I have now a certification in Microsoft Excel and posted on fucking LinkedIn. I've got a certification as a coach. I am a life coach.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about human empathy, right? This should have been fucking understood so long ago, or the ability to think critically and apply as a human, to put yourselves and consider. We grew up understanding, well, I did, do for others what
Yeah.
you want others to do for you is
Do
empathy
you?
embodied, right? Come
Yeah.
to it. Can a white guy empathize with a black guy? They can fucking try, I think. right?
They can
And
try. Yeah.
similarly, look at what's happening today, genocide. I said the last time this happened was before these dictionaries got published, right? Genocide was the last time that happened. We are here today. How complicated can it be? So we ask ourselves, who are we? What do we do? Beginning of this call, are we financial planners? Are we coaches? We can be whatever we want. It's all part of a game that we get to play to try to make money. But ultimately, we are fucking human beings, and we can
Yeah.
start to just consider simple shit like that, where we go, how does the other person feel? Not what somebody's told me. Yes, the whole point of shouting
Yeah.
and sharing. I mean, I've been traumatized the last 2 weeks, but I've shared this stuff before. People dying. I put a picture
Mm.
of children dying, being bombed. Didn't the who we look up to? If President Joe Biden came here on your podcast, fucking views for days, bro. Obviously, he wouldn't. He doesn't know how to click a fucking button. Again, my opinion. My opinion. Um, it's like this is the world we live in. That would mean more to us than fucking. So, I mean, my point is, you share these things. It affects you as well, but you try to empathize. I'm not there. But what I can
Mm.
see and feel and how I feel, as traumatic as it might be, is in itself a responsibility that I have as a human to try and voice all this evil shit that's going on, right? You know it's wrong. People can feel it's wrong, but we
Mm.
keep quiet. Why?
Mm.
2021, I got a call from heads of office to say, listen, stop posting the stuff. We have complaints. I'm like, I mean, come on, man. I must stop posting. And that played
Mm.
out. And it played out in a very not allowed way. And naturally,
Yeah.
because someone can get in trouble, it favorably, but what it was bullying. I know what it is.
Yeah.
If I shout about it back then, if I shout about it now, does it help me? Does it help anyone? No. What can I do to help? Just post, just to speak about it. Like it's yes, it's okay to say I don't know because hell, I also don't know. If I was a political leader, perhaps I could do a little bit more. Uh, maybe I can be. I don't know, bro. Politics is also something very interesting. But
Mm.
what's the least we can do? I think is the question. So if we start with I don't know what to think of this, we can maybe ask the next progressive question. If we start with how do I
I think.
retire, the next question would be what can I know? What can I do? And
Mm.
then ask the next
Yeah.
question and ask the next question. I think that would be a method.
Mm. I think the first thing is to really understand as much as you can, like you said, not just listen to the opinions or views that are being spread generally, but educating yourself. Like with anything, I think with business, with financial advice, all of that, I've always encouraged people to read and educate and think for themselves,
Mm.
and then form that opinion
And
about
isn't that a
anything in
scary
life.
thought? It's terrifying that education or the source material is subject to change now.
Yeah, it's obviously
With
also,
censorship and
how
banning,
do you
etc.
know what you're taking in is actually the truth. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's really
It's
tough. And
terrifying.
and from a personal perspective, I'll tell you this because I just know that in my life I've been traumatized because my family stood up for something
Yeah.
that especially well my dad did. I mean, but in a lot of it was my immediate. My mom obviously also supported him in that, but stood up for something that he saw was wrong, and for people that weren't his own people, if
Yeah.
I could put it that way, because that there's a
Yeah.
difference, right? I mean, there is a difference with you standing up for your own people in a way that you identify with more, uh, based on whatever color,
Mm.
religion, whatever that
Yeah.
commonality
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be,
I hear you.
versus you basically standing up for people that are not within your own race, culture, religion. And then you're basically putting yourself in danger and ridicule, as well as being called a traitor. My dad was an Afrikaner white man that stood up in apartheid times for people being downtrodden, black people. enduring apartheid. So not only did he put himself in a position and his family in a position of danger and ridicule, I was bullied. I had to change schools. So I was traumatized before my dad eventually got assassinated
Mm,
for this,
mm, mm,
for standing up and doing something very proactive about the situation. And on top of that, he was called a traitor
mm.
for betraying his own
People,
um,
as you
people.
put it. Yeah.
Yeah, your people. I mean,
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
all people are my people. But
Yes, yes, yes. No, no, I mean,
but if you want
it's,
to, if you want to put it into the categories and boxes that others like to put it into. So yeah, so my inactiveness in a situation like this is based, I think, first of all, um, being generally traumatized. It's why I haven't gotten into any kind of politics. It's why I haven't stood up for anything specific except for people generally, if I can,
can I share something
because of
with you,
that
bro?
trauma.
You allowing me on your platform and entertaining my conversation as a friend.
Mm,
If I were to create a statistic out of thin fucking air, you are in the top fucking 1% of humans in the world, bro.
mm,
And this is a form of support. And
mm,
I want to say thank you, bro. So don't ever beat yourself up about the fact that for whatever reason you may be finding it hard or not taking support. This in itself is support, even if you define it as
mm,
supporting your friend and allowing him to speak.
mm.
That is everything, you know. So
And I
thanks
believe very
as
much
a
in that.
brother.
I very much believe. Yeah, I very much believe in giving everyone an opportunity to say what they need to say. And I'm not the one that's supposed to agree or disagree with anyone's view on things, but I believe everyone should be given an opportunity to say what they want to say,
Mm.
and what's on their heart. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm always, going to be the person that is going to. One of my core principles in life has always been is be friends with people that you vehemently disagree with on certain issues.
What do you disagree
I
with me
think,
on?
in this case, I don't agree or disagree with anything, but I want to be friends with people that have a totally different lifestyle, totally different view, totally different opinion on things, on certain things, and then with others, you do get to spend time with people that on another level, regardless of your race, religion, views on things. These are people you will get along with, and I think we've always been on that basis between you and I. We know that ultimately our hearts are good and our hearts are pure and wanting to do the best for ourselves and other people.
Tell
Yeah.
me something. At what
And
point did you ever have what you just said in terms of a disagreeing point of view from my point of view? I'm trying to figure it out since we've met. For
no,
fun.
I don't think it would necessarily, it doesn't have to be voiced necessarily either. I think it just
Mm,
means that you also, can get along with people and talk to people that come from quite a different
mm.
background in some respects.
Yeah, bro.
I'm
No, interesting
not the
question.
kind of guy that did, I'll never like, I'll never, there's very few things I would totally disagree with someone, because I'm always, and I think you're the same, it's like, okay, let's listen to what you're saying, let's listen to what your take is. How did you formulate that opinion? How did you formulate that view? It's
Yeah, and there's
because,
a
yeah.
method, right? So, like, I am the type of person that would immediately disagree if in the beginning. So, let's say somebody goes,
Mm.
I've been eating a lot of, I've been eating less carbs and I'm going to lose weight. I'll be the first person to go, my guy, you are wrong. And then they'll go, huh? How am I wrong? And that'll be like, cool. Let me tell you why I think you're wrong. And they may say
Yeah.
something else, and that's okay. Carbs, I found that I ate carbs less over the last 2 weeks, and I've lost 3 kgs. And then that's where I'll go, well, no, duh. Would you like to understand why? It's called starving yourself. Flipping works.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do.
it works.
Why? Why are you losing weight? And you start back from the beginning. What is the
Yeah.
objective? Um, yeah, I mean, it's just a method, right? You know, your version of looking at it is very Buddha-like. You know, Uh, tell me what you feel. Okay, accept. I'm just saying I'm the asshole in this situation. I'll be like, no, and
Yeah.
then we'll have the discussion again.
I definitely think that I'm very unlikely to say no. That I don't agree with that. You know, you're right. I do take the Buddha approach, but okay, let's see how
I've
you
tried it. I
how we
just
feel
think I'm
about
very
this.
impatient.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, it does make a difference. But other than that, I wanted to. So you say skydiving? Is that a new hobby, or is it part of your stuntman background?
No, I mean it's all of it, but it's not part of my
Mm,
stuntman background. Like you know, I've been um, what's the word? Passionate about movement, understanding what I'm capable of from
mm,
the reason why I started parkour and free running, right? Um, it's kind of my
yeah.
philosophy of life is to learn, and physically that applies as well, not just mentally and ways to do things and strategies and concepts, and it's physical as well. So I mean, I've been training for 23 years. I know how to move my arm like this and
Mm,
curl my biceps. It's very interesting to understand the terminology of contraction and eccentric movements, and then to apply is a whole different study. What are you um, capable of in terms of strength, movement, different
mm,
variations of it? So I've practiced a whole lot of things. I was doing calisthenics before there was a name for it. You know, it used to still be
right.
in 2010, 2011, it would be like, you know, the gymnastics elements of gym, body weight, and then calisthenics, the term and all of that came out, right? Um, Skydiving.
Yeah.
Now, applying then your ability to move freely and control what you can, and as you age and how that changes, and the niggles and the injuries and so on, and what are you capable of while we have 2 feet on the ground. Then applies to the thought of scuba diving. I love scuba diving. You know, what is the world like under there? Then the philosophical versions of how you think about it, what it means to you, the world itself underneath there, and again, how your body can operate in a situation in a whole different world. And skydiving then
Mm,
becomes the sky. And of course, there's so much to think about and do in that space. I just find it complete intrigue. You know, I tried to turn left in the sky
yeah.
and I ended up spinning. Why is that? So the science is exciting, the outcome is exciting, the achievement is exciting, the rush in itself, no doubt, is exciting. The people,
Yeah. Yeah.
the people are incredible.
Yeah. And how many
Where,
dives have
where
you?
do
How
cool,
many?
cool
How
people?
many? How many
Yeah,
skydives have you done?
I'm on jump number
How many
38.
skydives have you done so far?
I've done
Okay.
38. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I'm
But
still
that's
a
after
newbie.
you qualified to jump on your own, right?
No, no, from
Still a
jump
newbie.
number
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
So
okay.
jump number
So
one,
when
it's
does
a
one
funny
get to
story,
jump on
bro.
its own? How does
You
it
know,
work? What is the training like? Like just
I did a tandem
briefly.
jump in 2017. I just lost you over there. Are you still there? You heard me say that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And
So what's the training like to be able to get to where you get to?
yeah,
What do
so
you have
so
to
here
do?
I go, right? I made up the decision to get my A license in skydiving, which is you can apply for at 25 jumps, right? To learn to become a
Okay.
certified solo skydiver is you have to complete a program called an AFF, Accelerated Free Fall course, which is makes up of 10
Okay.
levels, 10 jumps out of a plane. Assuming you pass each level, you will become a certified solo skydiver, right? So I mean, I do these things. If I want to do it, I book it. It's scheduled, and then I carry on with my life. I even kind of forget that it's coming up. So a week before it came up, I was like, oh yeah, this weekend I'm gonna start my skydiving journey. And I carried on the week as usual, no particular thought towards it. So when I showed up, the first day is a Friday, and there's ground school. So in a classroom, pretty much, from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. at night. That's what it said on the schedule. So I pitched up, went to the classroom, had an amazing instructor, and started learning all the theory about skydiving, right? At some point, um, during the class, you move from class to the hangar where you look at the parachute, you look at the lines, you look at all the theory that you just learned, you look at the plane, you discuss, because the next day you're going to do level 1, which is your first level, your first jump out of a plane. And in my head all this time, I obviously imagined if it's the first jump out of a plane, surely it's going to be another tandem, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so we get into the plane, and because I've done a tandem before, I know you sit in between the legs of somebody else. So if I'm the instructor, the student sits here and they attach to me, right? So Yana, my instructor, she goes, okay, Nab, so you sit there in the back of the plane. So I sit on my back, and I'm thinking in my head, why would my back be against the plane? So if the instructor should be attached to me. So I asked the question. I mean, classroom, I don't sound like an idiot. So I'm like, am I surely, is somebody else obviously going to be here and I'm going to be in between? She's like, no, you can sit wherever you want in the plane. It depends on the day. And that was a moment that I realized I'm fucking jumping solo tomorrow. I didn't say anything. I was just
Sure.
like, fuck me. Um, And that's when I paid so much more attention in that fucking classroom. I slept over
Yeah.
in a cabin. It's the middle of winter, freezing my balls off. 4 in the morning. I mean, I can't sleep. So in 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I'm awake, reading the book, remembering the theory. When the
Yeah.
parachute opens, what are the 3 questions am I going to ask? Is it there? Is it square? Meaning there's no issues for malfunction. And am I
Yeah.
spinning? Because if I do that, what's the procedure for fucking saving your life and pulling the reserve? It's arch. Oh, yes, arch. Look where my handles, right, left, arch. Don't forget to let go of the handles, because if you fucking
Hectic.
lose them, then you got to pay for them when you're down on the ground, which is an extra. Who cares about the fucking money? All these thoughts going through your head. And then it's 4 in the morning. You're in a little cabin in this cold place, right? The bathroom facilities are outside, freezing my nuts off. And I'm like, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
I have to. It would be very beneficial to do the morning prayer, but I have to go out to like wet myself and make the ablution in order to
Yes.
pray. And I'm like, I really don't want to do this either. But hey, God, um, I don't want to die today. Let me just go outside, walk in the cold, flip and go through this. Watch myself, come back and pray in the morning. Oh man, it was nerve wracking. It looks fucking awesome. And look, the truth is,
Sure.
that fear, you don't know until you do it, right? And it's like most things in life, you can be completely
Yeah.
terrified of an idea or something, only to realize it's the complete opposite, right? Um,
Mm.
I mean, fun experiences, fun in
Wow.
games. And I completed the 10 jumps. So jump number 1 is actually solo. You have 2 instructors attached to you. So they hold on to the one grip here, they hold on to
I
the other
see.
grip, and they're basically holding you like that, you sideways.
Okay.
And there's another instructor holding you. So technically, you kind of with people. You just got your own parachute on your back. They're holding
Yeah.
on to you. You're doing what level 1
Right.
says, which is a series of instructions, how to exit. As soon as you do that, make sure you're aware.
Yeah.
If you're just completely freaking out, they tap you. You know the tap means look at that. Oh, read out the altitude to the instructor, and then check in with the other, read it out. So you're starting to learn to be fucking aware of what's important. Then they guide your arm if you
What's
need
important?
to
Yeah.
do a practice test to feel your pilot chute 1, 2, 3 times. Check your altitude. Okay, now you start to get an idea of from 11,000 feet. Now you're at 8 or whatever it might be. Then you're fully cognizant, you realize you're actually okay, you're not dying, blah, blah, blah. Deploy. Now, in the deployment is where all my studying paid off. This thing goes, and you're like, oh shit, is it there?
Yeah.
Is this, oh, fuck, there's a parachute over my head. It looks quite fucking fine. Thank God. Take some time to pray, flip and find the toggles, check if the thing can steer, do your thing.
Yeah.
They got a radio attached to you, so once you're in range, they start talking to you in under canopy, like, how are you doing? Okay, fucking. Um, how do you land? What's the safe landing pattern? And they guide you all the way to the ground. What to do, how to flare, how to land. Level 1, you land. The most awesome thing ever. Did
Wow.
you get it on camera? Flip, and I can't wait to post this on Instagram. And you go level 2, level 3, level 4. do different
Wow.
shit, learn how to
So do you
turn,
have to
learn
do
how to be
10 of
safe,
those, like
learn how to
with the
recover.
help?
Yeah, so each level progresses, right? So you then learn, like jump number 6, most incredible jump. You don't exit in standard fashion. You're supposed to exit unstable so that you can be taught to, so that you learn how
To
to recover
stabilize.
from an unstable position. So how you do that is
Yeah.
a great exercise. You front flip out of the plane, unstable. And then you stabilize and you go, great. Now the next phase of the jump, while you're there, check your altitude, cool, standard things. Your instructors are with you. They come and attach to you after you did your unstable, and they tell you, and if you aren't stable, there's drills and procedures. It's a fantastic process. So
Yeah.
by the time you get to level 10, and level 10 is actually called a hop and pop. So they go up to 5,000, not 11,000. They open the door, and the instructor ain't going with you. You exit the airplane, deploy the parachute within 10 seconds, and certified solo skydiver. You're capable of
Okay.
doing all of those things. You're capable of surviving out of a plane
All of
with a
those things.
parachute without dying. And then there's still further progression. There's so much more you can learn. And isn't that anything, any industry, any idea, any
Anything,
skill?
yeah,
You can always get better. You can always learn.
better.
And then progress past
Amazing.
to you can always create.
Mm.
So I live for
You
that
can
shit,
start doing
bro.
base
Whether
jumping,
it's
something like
skydiving.
that. Move to that level.
No, 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 no. That's fucked up, bro.
No.
That is a different type
It's
of mental, mental,
mental.
mental level, bro. Uh, did you know? Fun fact: your base jumping rig doesn't come with a reserve. So if that thing, like all this that you learned, it's a day, is it square, am I spinning? Any of that shit happens.
If it doesn't
Sorry
work,
for you. Don't bother fucking checking,
it's
because
done.
if it ain't there and it's not working, you got no backup. Make a fucking plan. However you
Yeah.
survive. It's fucking terrifying just the thought of it. So I'm not out to chase that adrenaline. Maybe not today, but holy shit. Um, yeah, respect to those fuckers. For the level of craziness.
Shout out to those guys.
It takes something. Shout the fuck out, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
respect you even fucking more. But don't be dumb. Like, I don't know. I care about you, man.
Yeah.
But it's fucking cool to
Yeah.
see. I'm
Yeah.
great you did it for
Yeah.
yourself, right? Fucking well up.
Yeah.
What can I
Amazing,
learn from
man.
you while we're on the ground? From that mentality is what I'd take away from
That
this
mentality. Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, I got big balls, but not that big. Not yet.
Lekker, man. Nabeel, it's been so good chatting to you, man. I'm glad that we got this time to catch up as well. We haven't had a chat like this for a
Yeah,
while.
bro.
It's always good chatting to you, man. And thanks for coming on to the
Yeah,
podcast. I
back
really
at you, bro.
appreciate it, man. Yeah. Is there anything else
I
you still want
wonder
to
what
say
you're
before
gonna
you?
name the headline. I'm just intrigued to see what you take away from this, what that headline of this conversation is. But fucking mad love to you, brother.
Yeah, hopefully everything works out with the recording, but I think the program hopefully stitches it together, because I've had one or two which then don't get put out because of the. So I really hope this one goes out. If it does, and if you're watching and you came to this, thank you. And thanks, Nabeel, again, man. So good chatting to you. Much
It's a
love.
pleasure, brother.
Cool, man. Have a good day.
You too, brother.